more things probably happening here early in the season that would signify a younger backcourt, maybe a little bit more inexperienced backcourt than what we've had in the past. We're turning the ball over a little bit more. So I think there will be some things we'll have to work through that you work through when you have a new and inexperienced backcourt. But I'm anxious to see. I think it's a backcourt that has the potential by the end of the year to be good. And Jamari's going to settle some things for sure. But I think we got some answers there, but it's going to take some time.
When you talk about maybe turning it over more than you would like, is some of that because Jamari's guarding guys?
Yeah, that's part of it. I think that is part of it. He's been he's been a problem. He has been a problem with his ball pressure. I think in general, we have to be better on that end anyway, Adam. Not just in terms of our turnover, which is we just have to be better defensively in the backcourt. But yeah, he's been a problem, which is going to get guys like Michi and those guys along.
You're down there talking to your teammates, your players rather, and showing off your drip. But seeing a guy like EJ in the spotlight like that, and seeing him step into, in a lot of ways, he's the face of your team. Not a lot of first-team All-Big Ten guys come back in college basketball. How have you seen him start to take that over early, but take some of those steps into being the face of the program?
You know, he's got the best smile in college basketball. We know that. He has a joy to him as a person that I think is really contagious out of him. Anybody who spends time with him just appreciates who he is and his personality and his disposition. And that's how he is, man. He just is. You've been around him now for 2+ years. And when he said the other day that he really did want to leave a legacy of success here, I think that was from his heart. You know, he really does care about leaving a legacy, and a significant one. He understands more winning has to be done, but you know, you love a kid who's coming back with that mindset.
When you have someone like him who is, you know, a public figure at that point, and he's dealt with the downside of being a public figure, obviously. Have you seen him embrace the attention with open arms? Does it have to be a little sparty based on what happens?
Become a friend.
I don't know. That's probably a good question for him. Talking about with social media.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's probably a good question for him. You know, you hope that he continues to just be who he is.
Yeah, we're not,
because we all know that's
we're not really
99% of the people appreciate him for who he is. We understand, unfortunately, there's no excuse for what happened.
And we just started putting in place.
We did everything we could
because
to kind of find and potentially take action there. Kind of left the ball in his court. As I said, he represented some of the worst of humanity with those comments. I think EJ's the kind of kid that is he'll move on. He's going to live in the moment. That's what I'm going to challenge him with every day.
Dockery's in his second year, so he's playing, more point guard in practice.
Michi was talking to us last week about growing confidence and taking shots that sometimes maybe you don't like, but he practices those, and growing into a better shooter and things like that. I'm just curious how you've seen him grow and kind of dealing with a personality like that, where he may do some things maybe Dwayne-like, where it frustrates you a little bit, but he also, it sounds like, has confidence in that shot, and I assume you want to see him make plays and score the basket for you.
I do. He's going to have to do that for us. He'll run some point, but he'll also play, whether he's playing the point or not. I think scoring's going to be an important part of his role this year. We need that from him, either at the point guard spot or the combo spot. So, yeah, I think he's going to grow into a bigger role. So I think there will be some stuff that naturally we'll work through. We're going to need a lot more from him than what we needed last year, and that's just the reality. And I think he's ready for it. I think as long as he stays healthy, I think he's poised to have a good freshman year, and that's kind of what it's his first full year, so we're still calling him a freshman.
He's good. He's a great kid. He can really score.
No, I think he's poised to have a good freshman year.
Great
Just his personality really came across. We hadn't talked to him a ton. What does he bring to the locker room? Guys seem to gravitate towards him a little bit. Him and Zed were going back and forth. What's he like behind closed doors when we don't see him?
Say the last part again. I'm sorry.
Just what's he like when not on the court, the personality, the person of Michi Johnson, as opposed to just basketball.
Well, this is a great city, obviously.
He's really outgoing. He's got an infectious personality.
I think it's the best city for these type of tournaments. The hotels, the restaurants.
He's a kid that I think people. He's got a charisma
to him. It's a big part of what makes it so unique, and it's affordable to fan bases too. So, yeah, I mean, we're in the Big Ten. We've been in the Big Ten for our 8th year now, so hopefully this area has a good feel for what we're about, who we are. We've been pretty good in those 8 years too. So, yeah, it's, I grew up in the Midwest, love this area,
we got a couple
Indianapolis, so it's good to be here. But I know people care about our program. I think a really good addition to the Big Ten. So.
Coach, is it going to be hard to get certain guys a bigger role given that there's so many seniors on the team? So I'm thinking about a guy like Eugene Brown, for example. Is it going to be hard to get certain guys the amount of minutes that they want to get, even some of the older guys as well?
We'll see. I think everybody's going to, we've talked about that. That's going to be a common challenge for a lot of people. You look at a lot of these rosters, and they have a lot of guys. I think role definition and those guys that can accept and embrace the role is going to be critical for every team. Right now, I'm not ready to say what our rotation is going to look like. We've had 6 practices. I think it's still very much a competitive challenge.
So it's the main reason I took the job. It's the main reason a lot of
certainly some guys that maybe
because of tradition. We know it's a big time place.
The first few practices, but
as I get a little bit older, it's a privilege.
We'll know more here in the next month, and I think we want to keep it wide open.
I love
really for the better part of the first part of the season.
I'm just waiting for that one special year. Hopefully,
not make any real determinations yet. There's certainly some guys that have earned some things.
We just haven't had that great run yet.
There's a lot of positions still up for grabs.
EJ said he wants to be remembered like a guy like Aaron Kraft in the Ohio State program. What do you feel like he needs to do in order to kind of attain that status with in terms of Ohio State basketball?
I think he's just got to continue to be EJ and elevate his team like he has. And obviously, we've had good success. There's another level we'd like to get to. I think he understands.
I think we beat each other up, to be quite honest.
A lot of the guys that are remembered have been able to get
we probably weren't supposed to win games, but we did. We figured it out. But because we played
winning's really, really important.
We got in because we played the great league.
But how he carries himself,
if you go back and look at the stats since 2010, how many NCAA tournament appearances, how many NCAA tournament wins, how many...
Can you talk about Seth Towns' commitment to the game of basketball and the fact that he's, still seems to be dead set on having a great season despite, another setback for him?
Number one. I mean, so
I think he'll handle it fine.
We just haven't won that.
I think he'll handle it fine.
7 teams since
I think that
2010, 2000.
It's not a season-ending injury. As a matter of fact, he should be able to play for at least a half to 2/3 of the season. He understands that, and I think it's not like the first time he's went through an injury. It's a separate injury than his knee.
I don't want to make excuses.
I think he'll handle it with the kind of maturity that he's handled the previous one, and I think he's going to come out on the other end of it really well.
You're quarantined in the same hotel, so it is what it is. But we're a great league, whether we won that last game or not.
Well, he's,
and I think the stats
as you can imagine, it takes some time. He's Hawaii laid back. He is very much his own person. He's a great kid.
It's hard to think that it could be better than last year, right? I think the depth there again.
He's got a really laid back island approach. So I think it's taken a little bit of time, and it's taken a little bit of time for me to kind of figure out
what at the top, you might say it's harder for Michigan to be better than they were, but they might be
the best way sometimes to challenge him. He had a really good junior season, really productive. We talk a lot about Kyle being banged up.
It's a terrific league. It's daunting. Illinois
so was Justice, and that was a factor for us. He just
top 5 team.
Whether it was the Big Ten tournament or whatever, he just did not feel himself at the very end. We need both those guys.
Depth should be there. Be a great league. I hope we get 8, 9, 10 teams in again. But we'll see. We got to do well in non-conference. Put ourselves in a position to do that.
I did not. I did not. It was really unique.
I don't. That's a great question.
You know.
Yeah.
I wanted
probably
to.
in Maryland. Yeah.
And I was hoping he was there so I could actually make that happen. But he'll be a good former player to visit someday for sure.
I just wonder, like, maybe getting to know a family.
My third year.
I'm sure, like, cause when you were guys, you always talk about getting to know.
My second year at Jacksonville State.
You got to spend time with his family.
Yeah, I think
how well do you know them?
Yeah, we've gotten to know his family a little bit. Actually, yeah, we've gotten to know his family a little bit. And it's been, yeah, they're great family. They're great people. His dad's super laid back as well. His mom's a little bit more like you know, a little bit more kind of like you'd expect, the balance, probably justice. They're great people. He loves the island. He loves being over there.
Coach, speaking of Kyle, you know, talk about him. He's kind of like the heart and soul of the team.
He's special. Yeah, he's really special. Bottom line, he's special. You know, as I said on stage there, those are two of the best kids I've ever coached in a lot of ways. They embody everything you want. And they're really good players. They're really talented kids. He is the heart and the soul. You know, he's versatile, which is why, you know, losing him when we lost him was so important because of the matchup. But I'm just hoping for the kid that he has a full season.
How much is it?
So that moment when you realize Kyle was back, you don't need to disclose personal conversations, but that moment when you realize, man, this guy's back for sure.
You know, it was one of those deals where he really needed to make the decision in his own time and process it in his own way. I felt like it was trending in that direction, but I wanted it to happen at his own time. It was obviously a huge thing for our, when both those kids returned, it was a huge thing for our program. In a lot of ways, if they'd have made the decision to move on and they thought it was best for them, I'd have completely understood. But I think, you know, hopefully in some ways, you're talking about guys who really invested a lot in the program, and I think it validated that they believe in it. We want to continue to press it forward. That's our challenge.
And I'm sure you
we have traditions. We have a lot of companies. We've got a lot of success. A lot of
that same way.
Very well.
Whatever happens after school,
and we'll have a lot of program players. We'll have a lot of
so much time to do something. You get the impression that your underclassmen sensed that when they decided to come back.
Sense what exactly?
Sense the commitment that those guys have to be part of the program.
One, you got some top 10 guys.
I think it was a factor for sure. Both guys. I think when they saw both guys return, but you know the way these things work. EJ would not have returned if he didn't feel like it was in his best interest. It gave him the best chance to prepare for the next step. That's the way these things work nowadays. And I understand that. That's the world we live in right now. You know, kids aren't going to return just because they want to return. They can still love the school and say, hey, it's my best interest to keep my name in the NBA draft. Sometimes that's hard for us to conceptualize and understand because we work maybe under a different paradigm for a long time. But I think if they both would have said, if Kyle would have said, hey, I want to go play professional, and EJ would have said, hey, I want to see where this NBA draft takes because it's in my best interest, we'd have loved him. They love Ohio State. They love their team. I think they felt like, in a lot of cases, it was best for them, and they really, I'm sure in some cases, they felt like there was some unfinished business as well.
Where's Jimmy Sotos' health at, and what can he give you this year in the backcourt?
He's full go right now, and he's one of those guards competing, but he's full go. He's full go. No, we've had some guys at him, like you know, that had maybe some flu, or we weren't sure if it was COVID, so they had to sit out a day to get the testing. We've had some of that, but nothing, no ankles or nothing of note right now.
You talked about those guys.
He just practices harder every day.
You guys have come close. This first year,
I always say he was 1 out of 4 days, or 1 out
overtime
He was every other day. Now he's probably good 4 out of 5. Some weeks he's good 5 out of 5.
Bring a trophy back.
And,
What will it mean? What will it mean to get to that?
And he's just really mature.
It's been a little while now for Ohio State as a program. Which obviously is
care of his body. He looks good. Normally,
what will it mean to get to that?
You know, I think.
So he's really committed to being a great player.
You know, I think it's something as a head coach and
it's come a long way.
As the leader, it's something you think about every day, and you're really obsessed with it. And yet, at the same time, I think you recognize that the best way to accomplish that is to really stay in the moment.
Yeah, so some guys
and stay committed to just improving.
It's not their motors don't run every day.
You know, we've been close in, as you mentioned, in the Big Ten tournament, obviously our first season, and then last year, really leading up until the last 4-game stretch, we were running. I think, again, we've established a level of success, but in terms of getting to that next step, whatever some of those next steps are,
we want a league championship.
you know, that's what we think about consistently, and ways to best prepare ourselves to do that. And it's a constant. There's no question. There is just hunger for that. In some ways, an obsession for that. At the same time, we have to stay committed to just the process. You can't always, you know, you begin to think too much long term. It can really challenge you.
It's their life.
You said there's been.
You know, the next break.
Yeah.
Is it hard to mirror those two approaches where you want this big goal? Is it? I guess what is the challenge as opposed to not getting ahead of yourself and look past those?
Yeah, I think focus on the bricks, not the wall. We are trying to do that. We've talked about that.
So you mentioned
it's really honestly it's a daily discipline.
I couldn't hear you.
Because we all want nothing more than that. Those guys down there do. I do. We want nothing more than to make that happen for our fan base and our program. I think we've made real strides. We've established a level of success. And it's the next challenge in front of us.
You said there's been a bit of a learning curve for Cedric since coming over from Louisiana to here. I know you've only gone through 6 practices, but what have you liked so far out of what you've seen through those 6 practices, and where's maybe the biggest strides he needs to make?
What he was able to do, and who knows if it would have been
I think he just has to get comfortable with the pace and the speed of this level, the length, size, pace, and speed of this level. He's a great kid. I'm excited about. I think he'll continue to grow and learn, but I think just the size, the length, and the speed of this game, of this level, is just a little bit different than what he consistently saw. He's a really good player, and he's going to be fine. I think we'll see his best basketball probably as kind of like mid-year on. I could really see that.
Do you think Malachi is ahead of schedule, behind schedule, right on schedule? Where is he at in his transition right now?
You know, I try not to put freshmen on schedules. They're going to run their own race. So we'll have him run his own race. He's had some really good days. Really good days. And he's had some days where he struggled.
I'm not surprised.
Do you look at your non-conference schedule at some points and going, what was I thinking putting this together?
I do. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Don't get too
high,
I do.
I do. It's the hardest. It's the hardest non-conference we play. Just because you got teams like Seton Hall's going to be really good. Akron's a really good mid-major to start the season with. Xavier's has its best team it's had in a few years, and then you guys are going to talk about some of the other ones. So
chemistry, Maryland, and we're a family, so we've been able to be consistent. We don't get too high, we don't get too low.
It's
if you come and watch me coach,
it's going to be a challenge. The most difficult non-conference. Maybe not by a wide margin, but I think the most difficult.
Day in and day out.
Do you do that knowing, okay, we have a veteran team, we've got a team that I want to see challenge? I mean, what is the thought process when you decide, hey, let's really challenge these guys, let's push for some of these?
I think it's some of that. I don't know that I'd play as hard a non-conference with a younger team because they have to build to that. But yeah, when I got here 4 years ago, it's what I heard a lot too. We want more challenging non-conference games, and that's not the reason why you do it, but it's kind of always been my mindset anyway. You just learn more about your team earlier. We do have a veteran group, and I think want to learn about our group early. What you don't want to do is you don't want to put them in a place where they're struggling to win the deepest league in the country. So, I think it's always a fine line.
How different is this team often?
How tough we are, how connected we are, how we handle adversity, all the things you hope a good team, you learn from a good team, those main things. Did you?
How different is this team offensively without Dwayne? How does losing Dwayne change what you guys do on offense?
Well, I think Dwayne and CJ, because they balanced us in a lot of ways, and I think CJ's ability to kind of get us what we need to get to. But also, we're going to be a little bit different because EJ's, while he played the 4 offensively, he was always guarded by 5. And now he's, we're going to be playing typically a bigger lineup, so there'll be a little bit of less of a mismatch, maybe potentially at times, but I still think EJ's going to be able to take advantage of that. I'm excited. I think this team is good offensively. Again, last year we were elite offensively. Are we going to hit that level? I don't know. The challenge is, can we be better defensively?
We haven't seen Seth at 100%. And I don't even know, you've obviously scouted him, but if he can get healthy and play at his best, he seems to think he can still be a very good basketball player.
Oh yeah, I do too.
What does that look like in an ideal situation where he's as good as he can get?
I don't know yet because we haven't seen it. But his knee was the healthiest it's ever been this late summer. His knee was the healthiest it's been in, I say that, 4 years, 3-4 years. Since his injury, I should say. His knee was the healthiest. So I think he can get there. I do think he can get there. I just don't know what it looks like exactly.
Chris, last couple questions here. Yeah. Chris, what problems does year 3 of Kofi present for you guys? Yeah.
A lot of the same problems that year 1 and year 2 presented. He's a massive human that is a real matchup problem. You have to game plan for him. He's a tremendous player. Seems like a great kid too. He's a tremendous player. So he's a better player, I'm sure, in year 3, but he was really good those first couple of years as well.
How have you seen Brad elevate that program the last couple of years?
I think Brad's done a great job. Yeah, Brad's done a great job. It's a great program with really, I think, a fan base that they love their hoops. We played them obviously in the Big Ten championship game. It was a phenomenal environment. I know we have not played them with fans at their place yet, but I know that environment's an incredible environment. So, Brad and his staff's done a really good job, and